Hi there. It's great to be here with you on this beautiful day. So, for most people I know, this year has been very challenging. There have been a lot of lows and even lower lows. And then most of us have been trying to figure out, how do we recover? How do we come back to center? How do we regain our mojo after all that we've gone through? How do we renew? If I'm honest, in the last year, there have been days when I've woken up and I really felt like roadkill. I felt like I was flattened by life, by everything that was going on. And I tried as much as I could to keep positive, stay looking at the good. But there are days when I just felt like I was losing it. Not that long ago, I remember waking up and feeling like I just needed to get out. I felt like I had been living in house arrest for a year, and all of the things that normally make me smile were making me want to run. I remember looking at the beautiful faces of my two kids, who are amazing beings, both little, one 16 months and one 4, and they have a lot of needs. Mama boo-boo, my little one says. She wants to breastfeed all the time. And my big one saying, Mom, can you get me down? Mom, I want some water. Mom, I need some milk. I need help with my shoes. Whatever it was that normally I would have patience. I would respond with a smile and a hug. But on this day, every time there was a need and a request and a crying, tearful tantrum, I felt like I just needed to get away. And even those 4 beautiful walls of my home that usually feel like my sanctuary, they felt more like a cage. And my wonderful husband was no consolation. I wanted to get away from him too, because he was driving me crazy. So I remember that day feeling like I need to get out. I need to get away from everyone. I jumped in my car. I remember driving those curvy roads. I live out in a windy, rural area. And I drove as fast as I can with my radio blaring, my windows down. And I drove as fast as I could to the banks of the Yuba River. I parked my car. I got out and put my backpack on. And when in the past I would slowly, leisurely meander up the sides of the river, on this day I remember running as fast as I could, as if my life depended on it. Because in all truth, I felt like my life did depend on it. I was running to that spot on the Yuba River that I've been before, where the sun shines even when it's dark and cloudy out. There is my spot. And I was praying that there would be no one in my spot. When I got there, I remember taking off my shoes, taking off my socks, putting my feet in that cold Yuba River water and laying back. And as I laid back in this spot, I also was praying. Mama Gaia, help. I am feeling so trapped inside my own life. I am feeling like I want to scream. Help. My cup is empty. Please help fill me back up. Please help me re-find my center. Please help me to love my life again. I invite you just to take a deep breath with me here. Maybe you've had a prayer, something like that, in the last year. Maybe you have felt like you reached your own limit. Maybe you have felt like you needed help from a greater power to bring you back into alignment. I know that was certainly true for me. And as I laid there on the banks of the Yuba calling out to Earth Mother, I remember inviting her energy into my body, inviting her to fill me up. And as she did that, and as I breathed in her vibrant energy, and I breathed out my own stress and pain, I started feeling more and more alive again, little by little, breath by breath. What I needed at that time is what I call a major reset. I needed to withdraw from my regular life and plug into something bigger. I needed to interrupt all of those patterns that were driving me crazy and come back to my stillness. So for me, going to the Yuba River provides a reset. And I can do it in a short amount of time, though I wish I had a few days and could really get away, like some of you maybe can. Maybe you could go to a meditation retreat. Maybe you could go somewhere far away and really unplug. Or maybe you, like me, have just a few hours because there's kids or someone else that needs you at home. But finding a place that you can reset, finding something or trying something new that you think could work to really shake things up and give you a space to get out of your everyday life and come back to center. So step one on the journey from roadkill to renewal is reset. So after you reset, you want to do everything in your power to not get back to that same really depleted place again, though it may happen. And if it does, you just bless yourself, reset. But then in order to keep going, having what I call some regenerative routines that you can put into place is really, really helpful. So for example, when I talk about regenerative, I want to invite you to think about this phrase that you've heard, I'm sure 100 times. Put on your oxygen mask first before helping anyone else. Put on your own oxygen mask first. So what in your life are those things that are your oxygen mask that help keep you vibrant, alive, renewed? For me, there's a few simple things that I do every day that I want to share with you, and maybe some of these tips can be helpful for you as well. A very simple thing I do every night is I put 2 glasses of water next to my bed. This was something suggested by an Ayurvedic practitioner a few years ago. She said you get really dehydrated at night, so if you drink water in the night and then when you wake up, drink a glass of water as well, that's a simple thing you can do to literally rehydrate your body and start your day on the right foot. What else do we put into our body? That's the foundation of having a great day. So the next thing I put in my body is water with some apple cider vinegar or some fire cider. If you happen to know what that is or have some around, look it up. If not, it's a very healthy reboot. So I do a little of that on most days. And then instead of going for the coffee, I have replaced that with a regenerative drink. I use an Adaptogen Blend. Adaptogens are largely made out of mushrooms that give you all day energy and vitality. So I have a mushroom adaptogen drink. And if I have extra time, I'll make myself a green smoothie. But what is important about this is not just doing it here and there, but is actually turning that into a routine. I took a course a few years ago by a man named Eben Pagan. Maybe you've heard of him before, maybe not. He has a course that's called Wake Up Productive. Wake up productive! How do we wake up productive? And what Eben says is that it is important that we really conserve the energy of willpower. We have a very little bit of willpower, and we want to use it for those things we really need to use it for, to start something new, to get on a new track. But it's a limited resource. So why waste our precious willpower on something like figuring out what you're going to have for breakfast? Why not instead create a routine, what Eben calls a morning ritual, that you know works for you? You can include your food, you can include some exercise or yoga, hopefully some meditation too, but you do that as a little routine, and then you do the same thing most every day. So you don't have to think about it. And as it becomes on autopilot, it becomes an automatic way that you're regenerating yourself every day. So that little regenerative routine can really set you up, your morning ritual. Now, years later, now that I have kids, I've also developed a very simple evening routine with my kids to help everyone go to bed and get a good night's sleep. So for most parents, this might sound very simple, but for us, it's bath time at the same time every night, 6:30 p.m. bath time. We get out about 7:10. We then do teeth brushing, and then story time, and then snuggle time. But we do it in the same order every night. And again, it sounds so simple that we didn't even bother with it for several years. And as a result, our kids had very sporadic bedtimes, and we were all often kind of exhausted. So I invite you just to take a moment and think about your own life right now. Even if you want to go in, just think about, what is your oxygen mask? What are those things you know regenerate you, or that put you on a good track for your day or for your sleep? And just see if there's a couple things that pop up in your heart or in your mind. And then imagine weaving those things into a routine that you do every day. And that's going to really help you to be regenerative, so that you don't have to go back to that place of roadkill, or at least it happens a lot less frequently. So far 2 R's: reset, regenerative routines. And the third R of this trio of regeneration and renewal is relationship. Most of us long for more connection. And in this past year, for most of us, connection has been really challenged. I know that I am an extroverted person. I love connecting and playing and laughing and having a lot of people in my life. But in this last year, much of that has really fallen away. I spent most nights at home with my husband, kids asleep, and it's been relatively lonely. And so I have really needed to reach out and pull on a few relationships that have really served me well to get me through these hard times. And I would invite you to think about reaching out, perhaps beyond the little pod that you may have lived in for the last year. Reach out to those people you haven't seen or talked to. They probably could use some connection too. And then really lean into those relationships that you know serve you well. I have one girlfriend who has a setup at her home outside where she has 2 beautiful bathtubs side by side. And we get in those bathtubs and we are in there for hours because honestly, we need a lot of connection. And we use that time to vent, to cry, to laugh, to vision for the future. And by the time we get out, we are both shriveled and look like raisin fingers and raisin body. But we are also restored from the connection, from the relating, from having another human feel me and get me, and feel her and get her. So I would invite you in these times to lean into your relationships even more and reach out even farther and wider to those people that you maybe haven't touched or seen or connected to as much. And when you do these 3 things, reset, regenerative routines, and relationship, and you do those regularly, I can almost guarantee that you are going to move significantly from the zone of roadkill beyond the zone of renewal into the zone of radiance. And when you are feeling in your radiance, you are alive, you are vital, you are dynamic, and you are attracting in the energy, the people, the experiences that you want and that you need to really co-create this beautiful, bright next chapter for your life and for our world. So I invite you in this moment to take a deep breath in with me. And just notice where you are on that spectrum. Just take an honest assessment. Roadkill is like a 0 and radiant is like a 10. Where are you on that spectrum now? Honestly. And are you willing to commit to do some of these things I've mentioned in order to bring your life into as radiant of an expression as possible? If you're willing, I invite you, even though you're alone perhaps right now, to raise your hand and just make a little pledge. And I look forward to seeing the radiant expression of you moving forward from here into the future. Thank you.